but no one understands him but his woman? Why is the first but in that line? How the fuck does that conjunction introduce something contrasting or contrary to what has already been stated? Huh? Are we to believe that complicated men are usually understood by most everyone other than their women? The word should not be but. He's a complicated man and no one understands him but his woman. It's not very good either. The only being understood by his woman doesn't really add information. I guess you could try, he's a complicated man, therefore no one understands him but his woman, or he's a complicated man, ergo no one understands him but his woman, but those seem a little precious and double the syllables. Consequently is way too long. You don't want a 4-syllable word in pop music unless you've got the triple, single-syllable double negative of can't get no to take the curse off your satisfaction. Consequently is also not exactly the right word. His complication doesn't directly cause the lack of understanding. They're really one and the same. It's just restating the idea to me, which is what's so wrong about the but. Thus, hence, or even so would make sense if Isaac needed one syllable there, but I don't feel the need. I would use nothing. He's a complicated man. No one understands him but his woman. That's fine. One but, one woman, no cry. Very Bob Marley. Do a full stop after complicated man and we'll strengthen the idea. Just let it hang there, then right into no one understands him but his woman. Great. Just when I'm confused by why a complicated man would normally be understood by people other than his woman, Mr. Hayes throws me another curve. I would have let this one slide by if the sandpaper of his butt hadn't sensitized my song safe-cracking fingertips. For most of the song, the excellent backup singers, one of them Thelma Hopkins from Tony, Orlando, and Dawn, and Tony isn't a private dick who is a sex machine to all the chicks, and that's damn right. Answer Isaac with shaft, and then one shut your mouth after Isaac almost says motherfucker. Hayes explains that he was just talking about shaft, and they affirm that they can dig it, and I'm sure they can, even post-Dawn Thelma. The only other time they depart from just singing the surname Shaft is after my hated line with that confusing but. Right after that line, they add his given name before his surname and sing John Shaft. No one mentions Shaft's middle name, which I've heard is Troy. This means the full line with background becomes he's a complicated man, but no one understands him but his woman, John Shaft. Once you hear the chorus response of John Shaft as an appositive to his woman, it's hard to ever disconnect it again. It certainly makes sense that a complicated African-American man could have a woman named John, maybe transgendered or butch nickname or named by the man as some sort of weird racial commentary. What do I know? To me, it would be a fine place for them to sing Mrs. Shaft. And if that's not what people want, maybe Ms. Shaft. Although if you're fighting the man, you might not want to adopt your husband's name at all. That's a different generation's battle, and that brings us to my buddy Richie Rich's suggestion that the line be, he's a complicated man, no one understands him but his mother, Mrs. Shaft. The meter fits and it makes sense on every front. If he really is that complicated, it seems that even his woman, John Shaft, might have trouble understanding him. But his mom, Mrs. Shaft, would certainly understand her sex machine son. I've carried on publicly about Shaft almost as much as I've carried on about Frosty the Snowman. When the remake or reimagining or recashing in of Shaft came out with a groovy leather coat, I was very excited that Isaac Hayes was redoing the song. I figured that Isaac was going to address my little quibbles and finally perfect the song. I attended the opening night and listened carefully. But there it was. He's a complicated man, but no one understands him but his woman, John Shaft. What the watch your mouth. I'm just talking about word usage. I don't remember anything else about the movie. Right before Isaac died, someone called my radio show and said that Isaac had done a version on some situation comedy where he sang it my way. They played it over the phone, but I can't find it. I don't know how high on Isaac's bucket list pleasing me with his lyrics was, so maybe it was a prank. Now for Joy to the World, with a very complicated savior who's the anti-sex machine.